I'm Jennifer Ball, and this is Artists at Work. Today we're talking to Cyndi Lang of Bella Me Photography, and I hope our viewers are ready to see the cutest baby photos ever in the history of man. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We are surrounded by your beautiful work, but I would love to know how you got started in the photography business.
Well, let's see. I always had a love for photography, even as a child. I used to take my dad's old Sony film camera and just go around the house and take pictures of everything and anything. I would cut the roses off the rose bush and take a picture of the flower. I just loved it.
Wonderful.
Loved it from a young age. And then when I got older, got married, had kids, like all parents do, I wanted to take pictures of my own babies, and I just became obsessed with it. Obsessed with, the different scenes, the different outfits, posing them. I absolutely love taking pictures of my own kids, and then all of a sudden I'd have, friends and family say, hey, take a picture of my kid or my family, and then it kind of just grew from there into what it is today.
Wonderful. So would you say that you're a self-taught artist?
I am a self-taught artist, yes. Yeah. When I started, getting into the hobby, I never really went to school for it. I really didn't have an intention of being a photographer. I just liked it as a hobby. So when it became more of a career, it was all just teaching myself through experience, online, kind of like online courses, watching tutorials, stuff like that, and mostly just experience, getting my hands on the camera and going out and shooting and editing and just kind of the experience of it.
That's so neat. I think that I definitely have something in common there. As a child, or when I had my own children, I definitely had that same reaction. Like, I want to document every moment of this creature's life. So I love how that really spurred your business and interest in it. We've got some of your artwork, and I would love to show this one here. How did you really focus in on children?
I've always loved kids. Before I was a photographer, before I had children, I was a nanny. And so my life passion was always working with children. And when the photography came about and I was taking my own kids' pictures and started having other people ask me to take their kids' pictures, it just kind of snowballed from there. And to me, there is nothing better than working with newborns, especially babies, children. I love it. I adore every moment of it.
I bet that's so rewarding.
It is.
But also probably provides its own challenges too.
Oh, does it?
What kind of?
Oh, does it?
Tell us about some interesting things that take place in your studio.
So to start maybe with the newborns, we definitely needed them to be asleep in order to take and get these kind of poses. They don't pose like this when they're wide awake or when they're hungry or when they're just not feeling their best maybe. So trying to get the little ones to go to sleep, to stay asleep, is challenging. We have a lot, as you know, with babies between spit up and accidents that we go through within a session. That happens a ton. But obviously to get pictures like this is totally worth it.
What are your tricks? How do you get them to sleep?
Yes. So we make sure to tell moms and dads to have baby come in before they're 3 weeks of age. That's super important. They tend to sleep a lot during those first few weeks. So we have a little bit of luck on our side if they come in that early. We make sure that the babies are fed at our studio. That way, as soon as they have a full belly, we can roll right into taking pictures. There's no, gap at all. During the actual photo taking, we're posing and changing them so often that they do tend to feel it, startle a little bit, wake up, and basically what we do is a lot of soothing, forehead rubs, patting. We use a really a nice warmer, which keeps the area about a good 80 degrees, which we suffer, but the baby is happy.
Yes.
And then we have a little shushing tool we use. It has white noise, and all those things put together usually equals success, usually.
Fingers crossed.
Exactly.
Oh, and you two, along with newborns, you do other all ages, is that correct?
Yes, we do all ages. We do a ton of newborns, but we also do a lot of milestone sessions, and this was one of our first birthday cake smash sessions that we did. This one doesn't have the cake in it. This was before he smashed the cake. But yeah, the little one-year-olds, that's a huge milestone. Everybody wants that picture done to kind of celebrate that whole first year of life, and this little guy did obviously awesome with his first birthday pictures. A little more challenging at this age as far as the fact that they are mobile. Some are walking, most are crawling, and little ones don't they're not built to sit still.
No.
You can't even get mad at them. They are not built to sit still. So it's more or less finding ways to play with them, to make them think we're having fun, to distract them from wanting to crawl away or wanting to go crawl on mommy's lap. And that's where we get those great shots kind of in between the running moments and the crying.
Playing.
Exactly.
I love that. I remember when my daughter was probably about a year, we did a photo session, and I was so concerned because she was such a smiley baby, but that day she did not want to smile. And we tried puppets, we were jumping up and down, but the shots, the photographer told me, she was like, it's not always the smiley ones that are the best. And I ended up loving and cherishing these photos, even though it didn't go as I had anticipated.
That's so true. You're so
but it's
right.
hard as the mom. You're like, no, you need to smile on command, baby. Here's another one of yours.
Little sweeties.
School age.
Yeah, so they're a little older. These guys are definitely a little bit easier to work with because they do understand what we're asking them to do. They're at a great age where you can be like, hey, if you do a good job, you can go get a cookie, or you can get a little reward for this. And they're usually like, yes. I had one little boy once I think he was only 2 years old, and mom promised him a stick of gum if he did a good job. And after every single click of every picture I took, he's like, I have gum? Right. And he earned his gum.
It's like, I'm performing now,
right,
come on.
exactly.
It's time to pay up, Mom.
Exactly. Incentives work.
That is awesome. Oh my goodness. So tell me about how your pictures have evolved through time. You've been in the business for a while. How have they changed?
So when I first started, it's been 10 years now. When I first started, obviously I was very, very raw. I was very new at this, and it was more just kind of getting my feet wet. At that time, I thought they looked great. But when I look back now, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I hope they look a lot better than now that I've had all this experience. But it's just been fun kind of being able to really tap into my creative side. And once I really learned how to take a good picture, you may say, and how to work the camera and how to do the editing, then I could focus more on coming up with the creative scenes and poses and outfits and really make it fun.
Yeah. Now, you have a picture in front of you that looks like there is some computer editing involved there. Tell me about how you kind of merge those two styles.
So this one actually has a little Grinch hand, as you can see, going across. This one actually, we do have that hand in our studio.
Oh, so
we do have other ones that were edited, but this one was actually just kind of going over there, making it look like a little ornament, picking it up.
Yes,
but a lot of what you see in most of these pictures, especially the newborns, we do a lot of editing as far as even just their skin. A lot of newborns have baby acne or dry skin, and so we go through and touch up to make them look as nice and
pristine
exactly,
as possible.
exactly, getting rid of all those little dry skin flecks and stuff like that. But yeah.
You've got some great holiday pictures if you want to kind of filter through.
Look at these two little cuties. They were doing a holiday session, and we had them in a scene where it looks like they're in a nice warm bed having hot cocoa. That's actually pretend hot cocoa, so it can't be spilled.
Genius.
Exactly.
Genius.
I love when people come in and have the jammies on and want to do the comfy cozy scene rather than always the super fancy one.
Right.
Both are great, but this is a fun
Now, it looks like so much is going on the set of this one. So not only the children are adorable, but the backdrop is amazing too.
It is,
what kind of thought process do you put in, and how do you decide what goes in the set?
Yeah, so usually I start obviously with just the backdrop. Like this backdrop has everything in it that you see. What's awesome about these is they look 3D. So it looks like we created this massive scene.
It really does.
But then it's a matter of really kind of filling in the blanks, you may say. So instead of the kids just sitting on a hard floor, we put the blankets to make them look like they were tucked into a bed, using things like the hot cocoa, maybe putting some presents next to them, just kind of creating the whole scene, making it a whole package so it looks as real as possible. So it looks like they really are in a Christmas cozy bed.
Like I would have guessed that there would have been a whole set built behind that.
Right, that's the beauty of these backdrops.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
That is wonderful. So tell me more about the process with the computer as far as like picking filters. I'm sure that it's kind of changes with time. I think that with like social media and all that, we're kind of more aware of trends in photography, like different filters are popular at certain times. So tell me about how do you choose how much digitalizing you do?
Right. I try to keep it as natural as possible, but definitely you want it to pop so it looks better than just a cell phone picture, you may say.
Right.
So like in the fall, there are filters that you can use to kind of bring out the color of those leaves a little bit more. Like this year, the fall foliage changed really late. So there were a lot of sessions that we did that didn't have a lot of great fall colors, but in Photoshop, we were able to make it look like there was some more color. Exactly, in the trees and stuff like that. With pictures like, even like this one, this is a composite. I mean, we can't have Santa at the studio every day. So we actually,
busy man.
He's busy, right. So we actually took a picture of the newborn, as you can see, and composited it into this picture to make it look like Santa's holding baby. So we can do that with any baby at all can be in that exact picture. It's really fun to be able to create that.
That is amazing, and what a keepsake.
Right. Oh, exactly.
What do you think your favorite part of your job is?
We're definitely working with the children. I have seen over 2,000 newborns, and every one of them, believe it or not, are different. Like they each come in, and we just ooh and ah over every one of them. They are so fun to hold and cuddle and take pictures of, and then we get to pass them back to mom and dad to take home.
That's the best part. That's the best part.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. So what, obviously, some people probably come in with like an idea of a certain shot that they're looking for. I'm thinking, I was perusing your Facebook page last night, and I saw one with, it was a baby, and then there was a heart around the baby, and it was all of the mom's fertility treatments, and I just got chills when I saw it, because tell me about that story.
That was one of the most touching ones we did. We actually did more than one of that that's pose, but mom and dad definitely had a couple years of struggling with infertility, and they went through in vitro, and when they came in that day, mom had, I want to say 7 large gallon-sized Ziploc bags full of her syringes. Seeing them all just, I mean, I've heard the stories, but seeing them all and knowing what they had gone through to get this little perfect baby miracle. And she wanted a picture of baby swaddled with the heart shape going around, and again, just seeing how many syringes. I don't even think we used them all because the heart would have been too large. But that was a really touching picture, and it really just showed how much they went through to get that perfect little baby that was in the middle. So that was a great session.
What does anything else kind of come to mind as far as special photo sessions that pop out?
Yeah, we've had a couple where there's been a loss in the family, and people will bring in mementos that they want in the picture, whether it's a necklace, whether it's flowers. We even had, years back, had a newborn session we done where mom did not make it. And so they brought in all sorts of stuff, and we were all in tears. It was all in tears, and it was very, very difficult to do, but in the end, they had these pictures, and they had these memories, and they had those momentums in there, and this is what they wanted, and it really felt good to know that we were giving them something, even though emotionally we were all a wreck.
I'm sure as an artist, you leave everything, you pull out all the stops for something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Definitely. Yes.
I'm gonna show a couple more here. Tell me about how you've got so many. Oh, I love this one. Is this something that a parent specifically has in mind that you recreate for them, or where do you get your ideas and inspirations?
So we do so many of these different looks that we actually kind of collect a little booklet, and we tell the parents, here, what would you like us to do? So they can kind of see all the samples, and they usually will come in and say, I want that pool scene because it's summertime, or I want a Santa scene because it's Christmas time. And really, a lot of it does base on the season. So like in the summer, I definitely wanted to do something. I actually saw the little slushy cup online, and I'm like, oh, I need to get that. And then it kind of got the ball rolling with, okay, pool scene and inner tube and sunglasses and swimsuit, and it just kind of blew up from there, and it's one of my favorite ones. Yeah, I love that one.
I love it.
She's so cute.
I'm going to pull up this Santa one right here because this is just so precious. Is this another example of like a composite?
Yes, it is. This is another composite, which she was just laying on a little bed of white fur when we took the picture, and then we photoshopped her in to make it look like she was just snuggled up with Santa in front of the tree and fireplace.
Oh my goodness, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that one. Something about Santa Claus with a newborn is just...
It really is. Yeah. It's like the start of the magic.
Exactly, the magic,
moment.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Oh,
super
goodness.
sweet.
So, tell me about how you kind of stay on trend as things, change, as, like some things become popular and some things, don't. Like, where do you kind of like look for inspiration?
Social media. I really try to stay on top of social media and see what people want, what people's ideas are, what the new trend is, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, you can get a lot and learn a lot about people and what they want from just looking at those things. And then being able to, produce it and offer it, and then people come in and they're like, oh, I didn't even know I wanted that, and now that I see it, I want it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, with the holidays coming, I know that a bunch of people are, families are going to be gathering. What kind of tips as a photographer do you have to help people maybe like up their holiday photo game? Do you have any advice?
Absolutely. So especially if they're going to be gathering to do, like, let's say, a professional picture. When it comes to outfits, that's one of the biggest things people tell me. The hardest things are to come up with all the different coordinating outfits. And I can understand how stressful that is. I have 3 kids, so the 5 of us, and we need to do pictures, I get it. Best thing to do is just to start with one. So let's say you saw this adorable little dress for your daughter that you just fell in love with. Buy that dress and then base everybody else's outfits off that. Whether you play off a similar color that's in it or something that just works with the style. You kind of just start with one, and then you'll usually be able to base it off of several others. When it comes to posing, usually the photographer is really good at posing people. But if for some reason you're doing it on your own, I always like the tricks of don't just stand stiff, kind of, put all your weight on one hip, maybe hand in pocket, arm around somebody, tilt your head a little bit, get nice and close and together. Nothing's worse than having a family photo where there's all these gaps. You want to look like you're all snugged in, nice and close together. Definitely.
Show the love.
Exactly, show the love.
So when you're composing your photographs, what are things that are going through your mind as you're trying to find that shot?
Sure. So to me, symmetry is a lot of it. I like the look of having everything balanced out. Whether, obviously the subject of the baby or the child right in the middle usually is where I like to start, and then putting different items in the scene just to kind of balance out both sides, the back maybe. I never like taking a picture straight on. I always like to have everybody a little bit, just like we're sitting right now, a little bit off to the side. Having, instead of hands just kind of flumped to the side, kind of posing like that. Legs, especially for the little girls, will have them cross their little ankles. So it's just a lot about creating the pose that's going to look interesting and not just every day like you're just kind of slumped into a chair. And then when it comes to all the items that we add into it, we have so much, it's kind of fun that we can just be like, hey, grab that, grab this, grab that. And we put it in there. And a lot of what we use is props for the kids to hold on to if they can't quite stand by themselves yet or sit on. And that prop that they're using to sit or hold on to really helps make the scene or make it look special. Yeah,
I think that we have a clip that we're going to play that has a little boy standing on a ladder.
Yes.
So is that kind of what you're talking about there?
Exactly. He was doing his first birthday session and he needed some assistance standing, so he held onto the little ladder, and that was a great way to be able to get that standing shot, to see him full body while he held on. And he was so sweet. His mom was by him, so he'd look over at her and kind of give a little frown because he kind of wanted her. Then he'd look at me and he'd smile. He was the sweetest little thing ever.
And I could tell really from that video that you were working it. You were working, you would come in and somebody would change his hand position just to get that shot that you were looking for.
Exactly. So having that assistant, whether it be mom or dad or people that work with me, be able to just simple things like, hey, let's move his hand from where it is and move it down. That way I'm not putting the camera down, running up, fixing it, coming back for it just to be all apart again. So we're constantly, oh, the collar's up, flip it down, or baby's drool, whatever whatever it may be, fixing it so that way when it's done, I can still be ready to take that shot.
Right. So how many people are normally on a set to help you capture your moment?
Yes, so normally there are 3 of us. On the weekends when we're having our crazy Christmas stuff going on, there's usually 5 of us, basically because we always want to keep, number one is keeping the kids safe. And some babies, if they're sitting on a chair, you know how kids are, they decide, I'm done, and they just want to dive off. So we need to make sure someone's there to, number one, keep them safe, number 2, keep them in pose, because they're constantly wiggling, and we're trying to make them look as great as we can for the picture as far as their pose goes. And then people constantly changing the scene, because we don't want to just do one look for your whole session. We want to be able to give you more than one backdrop, more than one prop, so someone's always changing scenes around. And
right. What are some things that you do to get those smiles?
So that's the super fun part. One of my favorite things is something as simple as a feather duster. I have this nice long feather duster, and I will just sit there and stick it out towards the little one's feet and just, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna tickle you. And some kids look at me like I'm crazy. Some act a little afraid, like, what is that? But 99% of them just bust into laughter. They think it's hilarious. With the kids that are a little bit older, that using a feather duster would just be kind of silly with them, one of the things that works a lot is just saying, don't smile. Don't do it.
That good old reverse
exactly.
psychology.
And all of a sudden they go from having this grumpy face to this giant smile.
Here's another example.
Yes, that little beauty.
I love how I feel like when I look at your photographs, you really kind of get a little snippet of that child's personality. They don't feel the same, as far as, someone's smiling, someone is more serious, the precious baby poses, but I really do feel like you must put a lot of thought into how are you going to capture that individual child.
Yes, definitely. A lot of it, it starts with how cooperative they are. Some kids I have to kind of work with what they're going to give me, but that's kind of fun too, because then you're truly seeing their personality, whether it's kind of being silly or whatnot. Kids a little bit older, like this little one, I was able to kind of say, hey, let's do this, let's pose, lay your head down, give me that cute little smile, and obviously she did it beautifully, and I love really, I have to be careful that I don't zoom in too much, because I love getting the close-ups. There's something about seeing those beautiful eyes and their little smile, and I really enjoy getting the close-ups of the little ones.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Let's see. What do you, what's going through your mind as how do you know when you have, really got your shot that you're looking for? Is there something, that just kind of is intuitive to you that you know?
Yeah, especially at this point, since I've been doing it for so long, I, usually I have the scene the way I want it, so I know that's good. But then it's just getting the little ones to give me the smile or the cute face, whether it's a smile or a pout, whatever it may be. And usually, I'll work at it, and the smile's kind of maybe a little too cheesy at first, and all of a sudden they break, and you can just see that natural smile light up. Maybe they start to laugh or giggle, and then it's like, oh, that was perfect, I got it. Yes. And then we're like, great, let's switch to the next prop and keep it rolling, because yes, you're on borrowed time when you're working with kids. We'll often have people say, hey, I want to book a 2-hour session, and no, you really don't. 20 minutes, 30 minutes for little ones is about all they can handle.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. That's amazing that you can get what you can do in that short amount of time.
True, yes. So, newborns are different, though. They need a lot longer.
Sweet babies. What kind of advice do you have? You kind of have gone through this journey where you've been able to build your career as an artist through interactions with friends, and then building, a clientele. What kind of advice do you have to somebody who's just starting out in photography?
Definitely get your hands on that camera and just get out there and get experience. Just take pictures, whether it be of landscape or people or whatever it may be. Get the experience. Just take as many pictures as you can, edit as many as you can, and the more you do so, the more you're going to feel confident, the better you're going to get. Reach out, and I've had so many people reach out and say, hey, I'm interested, can I come in and shadow you? And that's been a fun thing too. I wish I would have done that, honestly, when I first started off. I've actually gone and followed a photographer and see what it was all about and what it was that I needed to do.
That's great.
Yeah.
We have just a few moments left. So I want to show this one because this is fantastic. Tell me the story behind it.
So this little baby came in, did a fantastic job for his session, and we actually had just purchased some of the things that you see in this picture, and we had asked Mom and Dad, hey, he did so great, can we do like a little model shoot with him? And they were all for it, and it was so fun creating this. All the little items that obviously are Harry Potter themed, him holding the little wand, you know, he posed just beautifully for it. The candles, actually we had them hanging from fishing wire so that they were more three-dimensional looking. And yeah, it was such a fun picture to create. It has so much depth to it, and there's just so much going on with all the little props. It's so fun finding and buying all these little miniature things.
Oh, I
have an obsession with miniature things, so whenever I see something small enough for a baby or small enough for a baby to fit into during a session, I buy it. So
I'm sure you see miniatures in a whole new way.
Oh, absolutely. I once bought a giant teacup from a garden nursery. And the lady asked me, oh, are you going to plant like mums in there? And I'm like, no, I'm going to put a baby in there. I got a strange look, but it ended up working in the long run.
I think that's the best quote. Nope, I'm going to put a baby in there. Well, Cyndi, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And to our viewers, we will see you next time at Artists at Work.